Hi, Cornerstone. Well, we are in this series looking at the I am statements of Jesus. And on Sunday, I looked at the passage in John 10 where Jesus says, I am the door. And he shows us that he is the one who we have to enter into in order to encounter the life that we desire, the life we're made for, a life where we can flourish and thrive in relationship with God and be in right relationships with one another. And so I want to dig into this just a little bit more. I think there's a lot here for us and a lot that God's been teaching me as I've been looking at this, studying it, pondering it, praying through it. And so let me begin this way. About every other week or so, around 8:30, 9 o'clock, our doorbell rings. And this time during the evening in our household can be either one, we just got all the kids down and we're exhausted, or we're in the throes of getting kids down to bed and it's just a really hectic time. And so we always look at each other a little oddly when the doorbell rings because normally nobody comes at this time. And so we'll get downstairs or head to the front door a couple rings later, and I open the door. And when I open the door, what I find is nobody's there. And this seems to happen about every other week. And we, for a little while, we weren't sure what was going on. And maybe thought we missed the FedEx man, but there was no package on the porch. And so didn't know what was going on until we realized, oh, it's neighborhood kids. They're doing the old prank of ring and run. You know, where kids come, they ring the doorbell, and then they hide and they look in the bushes to see the person open the door, and then they laugh hysterically. I don't know why this is funny, but this is what kids do. Maybe I did this when I was a kid a few times. But I tell you that story because I think in many ways, this is the way we pursue our relationship with Jesus. We go to the door, we come to him, we ring, we want to engage in relationship with him, and then we run away. I don't think it's because it's a prank. I think we do it because we get distracted. We get distracted with other doors. We want this life with God. We know we're made for it. We know we're made to flourish and thrive in a relationship with him, even if we don't fully understand who he is. But at the center of who we are, our heart's desire to be in relationship with God. And so we will ring a door and we know we're pursuing after God, and then we get distracted and we run after other doors. And I looked at the way we sometimes do this on Sunday. Sometimes it's rebellion. We look at the door of rebellion. We think we'll get to the life we want by doing what we want, however we want. Or we'll go to the door of religion. And if we figure if we can just do enough good things, we might be able to earn our way to God, earn our way into the life where we can know God and flourish with him. But what happens when we go there is we don't ever get into the life that Jesus is inviting us into. We get distracted and we choose either rebellion or we choose religion. But Jesus is inviting us to choose him. He's the one that's coming to us. And as I've been studying this, thinking about this, there's a passage that I haven't been able to get out of my mind. It's in Revelation. It's Revelation 3:20. Let me read this passage for you. Look, I stand at the door and knock. If you hear my voice and open the door, I will come in and we will share a meal together as friends. That passage is extraordinary. We're not the one that come to Jesus. No, Jesus is the one that's coming to us. He knocks at the door of our hearts, and he is the one who is the door. He makes it possible for us to come and to have a relationship with him. It's not that he's coming into us, it's we're coming into his life, into a relationship with him. But this passage, maybe you've heard this passage preached many times at an evangelistic sermon or meeting where people are calling others to believe in Jesus and trust him for the first time. And that's certainly a right way to understand this. But there's a broader context here that I think is applicable for many of us who've maybe been around the church for a long time, or maybe you're just trying to figure things out. And Jesus speaks these words to the church of Laodicea. And this church was famously known for being lukewarm, that they came to know who Christ was, but they began to wander. They began to ring and run. They began to look for other doors. They became lukewarm. And Jesus has these words for them. This is what he says. This is Revelation 3, verse 15. I know your works. You are neither cold nor hot. Would that you were either cold or hot. Jesus says, I know your works. And that word there, works, is incomplete deeds, not worth mentioning. That's what he's saying to them. Your deeds, your work, the way you're seeking, the doors you're going after is incomplete. You're not going to find what you're looking for. And then he says, but I stand at the door and knock. I'm inviting you to come and to share a meal with me. And this is this incredible picture in Revelation of fellowship with God, with enjoying his presence, enjoying his friendship. And that actually repositions our heart in a way where it fires us up to be full of love towards God and love towards our neighbor. That's what we want. We don't want to be lukewarm. We don't want to be a lukewarm church that maybe just goes through all the religious motions. No, we want to be people who our hearts are fired up for who God is, that we love him with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength, and we love our neighbor as ourselves. But we need to enter into a relationship, a deeper relationship with Jesus. We don't earn our way. We don't try to go do what we want to do, but we simply come to him. He is full of grace. And what we do find is when we pursue these other doors of rebellion or religion, all we end up with is just a worn out heart. We're exhausted. We feel like we just can't get through to what we want to. We can't find the life that we're longing for, the life where we know him, where we love him, know him, serve him, and as a result want to serve and love others. But here's the really good news, and I want to end here, is Jesus' invitation in Matthew 11 says, if you're weary, if you're burdened, come to me. That's the only requirement. That's it. And I know in the season we're all in right now, we're all feeling a little burdened. We're all feeling a little weary. Wherever you're at, whether you're trying to just go, God, I'm done. I'm rebelling, going my own way. Or if you're just going, I'm going to try to do more. I'm going to try to be better. I'm going to try to earn my way to God. Wherever you're at, Jesus is simply inviting us to come. Those of us who are weary, those of us who are burdened. And let me just end with the paraphrased version of that passage, because I think it's so fitting for what we're talking about here. These are Jesus's words for us. He says, are you tired, worn out, burned out on religion? Come to me, get away with me, and you'll recover your life. I'll show you how to take a real rest. Walk with me and work with me. Watch how I do it. Learn the unforced rhythms of grace. I won't lay anything ill-fitting on you. Keep company with me, and you'll learn to live freely and lightly. Jesus gives those words in Matthew 11. Come to me, all who are weary. And so would we do that today as we head into the rest of our week? Would we simply come? He's the one knocking on the door of our hearts. He's the one who is the door, who's made it possible for us not to earn our way, but to simply come and to know him and to be fueled with his love so that we might be a church that isn't cold, but is hot, a church that pursues after Jesus and pursues after a world that is in need of him. And so let us go in the power of his Spirit that fills us to love him and to love one another. Amen.